suicide is deep, and it's a real subject. I've known a few people personally that have committed suicide during my lifetime, and it's tough because you are left trying to understand why and trying to figure out the reasoning behind it. You sometimes people blame themselves, and sometimes we go through this whole notion of trying to figure out why and how and when and why didn't we see it, and what we saw, and what we should have known and why we didn't know. We go through all these emotions, and then everybody begins to have hot topics about it. For instance, Twitch, Charles, DJ Twitch, Boss, who I started watching on So You Think You Can Dance, and then from there to just doing different things. Then Ellen, him being on Ellen, and then during the pandemic, I actually got on TikTok for two reasons. First was my daughter Maila, and then I got on just to watch it. And then secondly, I saw Twitch and his wife on there dancing and doing small dances, and I was like, I want to do that. And so I, got on TikTok and started doing dances, and now I don't do dances on TikTok anymore. Now I just preach and teach and try to go viral weekly with my lessons. But I haven't gone viral yet, but I don't know. Nevertheless, y'all made me go viral. Nevertheless, he, interestingly enough, he seemed to be having a good life and things seemed to be well. And then one day he was on there dancing and with his family, and then the next day we find out that he apparently, from what we know, committed suicide at a hotel or a motel not far from his home in Los Angeles, leaving his keys in his car at home and catching an Uber to a hotel and motel, and then committing suicide. And we're praying for his family in Jesus' name. Lord, strength and comfort to them in the name of Jesus. Amen. And so we see that, and then so everyone had hot topics about it, and everyone was posting videos, and his friends, and then people who didn't know him, and everybody's check on your healthy friends, check on your good friends, check on people smiling, and yada yada yada, and so it's tough, but I had a perspective on it that I really didn't want to share, because many times I think that we just like to talk and like to be heard, and especially right after something happens, people always want to have something to say, and everybody's got a revelation on suicide and checking on your strong friends and check on people because they're smiling. And then someone put out a picture of Robin Williams and Anthony Bourdain and Twitch and someone else who committed suicide and said, this is what suicide looks like. And there's a picture of all of them smiling. On one end I got, on another end it depressed me, and it made me feel like, just please people, because I almost felt like we sometimes make people responsible for things they're not responsible for. Because you do know you can, no disrespect, but you do know you can check on people as much as you like and as much as you want. But if their mind is made up about whatever they plan on doing, they're going to do it anyway. And sometimes we as human beings, especially in this social network era, we've made people responsible for other people's demise. And I'm feeling bad because I'm like, well, maybe I should have called Twitch. I didn't know Twitch to call him. And then we made some of his people feel bad because everybody's trying to figure out why didn't they see it? Because sometimes you don't see it. Most of the time you don't see it. How many people do you know right now in your life that have been depressed and you didn't know until later on? Or we're going through something and then we did the LeBron James lie. I knew something was gonna happen. I could feel it. No, you didn't know. And we've made people responsible. Check on your friends and check on your strong friends and do this and do that. And then if they don't, if we don't that day and then something happens, we've made ourselves feel like we were at fault because we weren't everyone's Superman. That we weren't everybody's Clark Kent who ran into the phone booth, and we weren't everyone's Batman who wasn't a real superhero but had a tool belt. We've made people like that they're the Joker because they were concerned with what they were doing. And because I didn't know, I'm so consumed with myself. I think we have to kind of be a little more fair to each other these days. And stop making each other responsible because people did what they planned to do. Yes, can touching and being in touch with people, can that help them? Yes. Loving people, yes. Checking on them, yes. But how many people out there have a testimony that they had just spoke to the person and they still went and did what they did? Let's take it away from suicide. My brother was murdered in 2010, December 20th, 2010. My mother told him to stay off of Mac Road. You need to stay off Mac Road. And they had just got a big argument because she told him, Anton, stay off Mac Road. Not Anton. Anton's on Mac. Anton ends up on Mac Road. And he wasn't even necessarily his fault, but the situation that he was in and the people that he was surrounded with. And what happens? Anton's on Mac Road after mom had told Anton to stay off of Mac Road. And Anton was murdered right there on Mac Road at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in broad daylight. Fell over in the Church of God of Prophecy right there on Mac Road here in the city of Sacramento. By another boy right around the same age, a year or two older than him. Right? But my mom had just told him. And she had told him over and over again. I'm not saying my brother had a death wish, but I'm saying there's nothing that my mother could have done to stop him from doing what he wanted to do. He was 20 years old. Unless she put him in jail and locked him up and threw the key away. Are y'all with me? But we can't make people responsible for other people's personal choice. Yes, I'll check on my strong friends. But it's just not your strong friends that need checking up on. Are you checking up on yourself? Are you being responsible about you? And I can't make someone else the bearer of someone else's life. And now I come with all these things. And we have all these hotlines. And we don't know. We can't say how depressed he was. You don't know. Was he? Maybe so. But then there may be someone who was not severely depressed. A moment may have happened, and they made a quick move in a moment. How many people are in prison right now for making a quick decision? How many people have adjusted their lives for making a quick decision? How many people out there have kids that they weren't trying to have for making a quick decision at that moment? They wanted what they wanted, and now they got kids. They wanted to do the nasties, and they got kids, and that's what they wanted to do, and so they did it. They didn't plan on having a child, but they did it, and now they have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It wasn't planned. Are you listening to me, ladies and gentlemen? We can't make You can tell people until you're blue in the face, don't do this or don't do that. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it. Yes, we do it. But then we have to come back, and we can't be spending like 8 weeks check on your strong friends, because I checked on them. I talked to them. I loved on them. I gave them my best. I gave them my all. I tried. I prayed and I tried. I tried and I prayed. It said the police came back, and now they're not going to tell us what it said. They said that he left a note. Twitch left a note, and so people were able to see the note that he left, and he left that note, and so on that note said what it was. And here we're out here speculating that basically we're saying to a certain degree that because nobody looked out for him. Because nobody was there talking to him and seeing what was up with him and being sure that he was okay and all this kind of stuff. And then that's what happens because we're not there for people. How many people have you been there for and they still make decisions? How many times have you told her not to go back to him and she keeps going back to him? How many times have you told him that she's using him and he keeps going back to her because the sex is great? Because at least he has that. He doesn't want to be alone, or she doesn't want to be alone. How many people have we told to stop doing things? And how many times have you told your children not to do this or do that? And they did it anyway. And they had to suffer those consequences. And you tried and you prayed and you cried. Come on, Donna McClurkin. And you cried and you prayed and you prayed and you cried. And after you did all you could, you want them to stand. They just wouldn't stood. And you've given all that you have. And so I'm saying, yes, check on people. Yes, love on. Yes, love your people. Yes, be there. Yes, when you think, check on them and find out. But you cannot make yourself responsible and the responsible party. And I want other people in the world to stop making me and everybody else and those other people. Where's the church and the responsible party? Stop saying churches don't talk about mental health, because now every church has a mental health program, and churches have been talking about mental health for years. They just may not have understood it the right way, and if they didn't understand it the right way and talked about it, then you be mad then. You got to give somebody a break somewhere. You got, if somebody says I messed up, then you'll say, well, you got, at least admit you messed up. Well, I messed up, and then well, why did you mess up? Does it ever end? Does it ever end? Will explaining ourselves ever end to people? Because once we start checking on people, then now we do check on people. Now it's something else. We're not checking enough. Well, somebody could have done something. Not unless the person is willing to allow someone to infiltrate their space. If you don't allow anyone in your space to do what to help you, and you've already made your mind up, then it's not about checking on my friends. It's about my friends coming to the knowledge of where they really need to be at, and all we can do is share and love them and do our best to be there and to surround them with our love. But when they leave our presence, it's like simple like this. There was not too long ago, my girls in high school, and there was a gun threat at the school not far from where they go to school at. Earlier during the school year, there was a gun threat, and so they locked their school down. They were fine because they were miles away from that school, but it was close enough for them to be on alert where they were at. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but I can't stop them from going to school every day on the assumption that something may happen. I cannot pause them because something may happen. I have to allow them to go to school, and while they're there, I've taught them so they will make good decisions. Something happens, they have the numbers, they know who to call, they know who to text, they know the kind of messages to leave, so we'll understand and we'll know that they're safe. But they have to use what we've given them. They have to use those tools that we gave them. And people have to use their tools. And when they don't, yes, it hurts. But I cannot go around blaming myself and then making other people responsible because a person made a horrible decision that altered their lives and altered my life and altered other people's lives. I'm going to close right here. My brother, Anton Ray, who I talked about, that was murdered on December 20, 2010. After the young men who took part in his murder were found guilty, and they were on their way to prison. We were leaving the courthouse, and the young boy who was in the car with them, who didn't touch the gun, literally happened just to be there with them. He was going, and his mother comes out, and she sees my mother, and she wants to apologize to my mother and hug her. And my mother said, "I'm not hugging her. No, her son did this." And I looked at my mom and said, "Mom, you can't be that way." Of course, I didn't say it this quietly. I said, "Mom, we can't be that way. We can't do this. It's not her fault. And it's not her fault. No, her son wasn't raised the best, but neither were the rest of us. Neither were the rest of us. We all had weird friends and people that we probably shouldn't have hung out with, that we hung out with them anyway." So I said, "Mom, you can't be that way. It's not her fault that her son was a part of this. She wasn't there. She didn't tell him to go there." And when they embraced, she was like, "I'm so sorry. I am so very sorry." She did the best she could, but she was not responsible for her son's actions. And I'm so sorry that Twitch and others are gone, Robin Williams, and what about all the people that we don't know, or all the people that we do know, the people, just the regular people in the world that commit suicide? Lord, I'm so sad that they're gone. And my prayer is that they will get the help that they need. But my prayer also is that those who love them the most and do their best, that they will not walk around feeling responsible for what their loved one did. It's hard, it's hurtful, it's harmful. But my prayer is that they don't walk around feeling responsible because their loved one decided to make a life-ending decision because of a temporary frustration. Don't know what happened, but I do know my heart hurts for every family dealing with suicide, for every family dealing with loss, every family dealing with gun violence. But I want you to know, once you've done your part, don't walk around feeling like that. You could have done more because you've done your part. I gotta go. Peace. Yardley Griffin, Yardley Talks. If you enjoyed what you saw and you like this content, you like this platform, do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube, Yardley Griffin TV. Subscribe to our TikTok, Yardley Griffin TV. Follow our Facebook, Yardley Griffin. You can even send the Cashapp Yardley Griffin. Let's get this thing in. Let's subscribe. Let's build. Let's create more content together so we can help bless. We can help people. We can bless people. We can change lives. And we can do this thing. Yardley Talks. As always, I gotta go. Peace.